Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, representative of NGO Secretariat, representative of missions to human rights in Geneva office. It's time we start our site event, which is on human rights in Asia. And so we start. I would want to say that from the time of the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights up to this moment that we are holding this site event, a great has changed in terms of human rights protection and promotion within the country's member state of the United Nations. And so it is the same way as in Asia, because we cannot say that the blackboard is blank. There is something being done. The only problem is that it's not sufficient. And that is why we are here to say that it's not sufficient. To begin with, we know that the various states in Asia has signed and ratified a Pretoria of human rights instruments. They have also been struggling to incorporate this into national laws. And they have also formed regional organizations which principal purpose is to protect and promote human rights for the development of the area. So we cannot say that the blackboard is blank. We know principally that within the South Asian states, we have some dominant states. We have Japan, we have Palestine, we have Pakistan, not Palestine, we have China, we have Pakistan, we have India. So, when you look at the human rights record of these states, we realize that they are struggling to do something. They cannot do it by themselves. NGOs and international NGOs are monitoring human rights evolution in these states. And some of them place some of this country as having advanced. For example, Japan is in very good books of human rights organization for the advancement of human rights. We are talking notably their employment law. Their employment law, which incorporates almost all the Japanese and grants them employment facilities. And so for this reason, we think that it might not just be enough. There are other areas that they need to look into. And that is why we have seasoned experts to talk about human rights evolution in this region, in different countries. I can see Mr. Shukat from Pakistan.
Pakistan occupied.
Sorry?
Pakistan occupied Kashmir.
Pakistan occupied Kashmir. I can find Dr.
Lakhulohana.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, Lakwana. Well, I'll just simply call it Luana, it will be easy for me.
Yeah.
Doctor, I'm very sorry.
No, that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
So he will be coming in from the extreme right there with issues related to human rights as far as Pakistan, particularly in Sindh, is concerned. And then I have my dear friend Freddie, who will be handling it from the perspective of the Pashtun people, as it is seen. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time we kickstart our site event. And remember that as the panelists present their statements, simply take notes because we shall have at least 10 minutes for interactive discussion. I would like to request Dr. Liana. Oh. So, sorry, why didn't I present you?
I don't know.
My great
It's
friend.
too close.
Well, sorry about that. So that is even good so that I present you last.
Right.
So you kickstart the event. And so the person to keep the ball rolling is no other person than Mr. Shuichi FUJKI, who is part of the organization of this site event. Could you take this first, please?
Is it working? Yeah. Good morning, everyone, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, and also thank you very much, Mr. President. This side event is organized by the International Career Support Association, which is the Japan-based organization. And today, we'd like to discuss about the Asian human rights issue, but these people on here is the victim of the one dominant country, and not only one but two, maybe, yeah, directly and indirectly. So we have to discuss how to improve the human rights situation in each region. However, the region is too wide to point out. So today I will talk about only two things that I want to talk, which is nothing to do with Sindhi people or other people, but at the beginning I'd like to talk about the Hong Kong people. In 2019, when the Chinese was trying to suppress the Hong Kong people, I invited one sibling, elder brother Andy, and the younger sister Beatrice, and they brought lava bread directed to the civilians, and pepper sprays and other canisters of the tear gases and so on. We brought these items directed to the civilians, brought it to the United Nations, and we had a side event. Also, they had an intervention about the human rights issue in Hong Kong. However, when they go back to the Hong Kong, the elder brother Andy has been arrested by the authority, and even today he's missing. When he was trying to flee from Hong Kong by boat to the part of Taiwan, the sea police, Coast Guard of China, found it and arrested them. 11 were arrested, and they're all missing now. Then, and these people, these two people, I was staying at the same apartment together, and we discussed about the human rights issue in Hong Kong through the night, and they are very calm people. But though the authorities were directing these weapons against the civilians, normally that tear gas is shoot into the ground. So after the ground, it's exploded and gives the gas in the air. However, they're purposely directing the tear gas to their own people. And so many people are injured, and some of them lost their eyesight. So this is very challenging. And also UK, when they returned Hong Kong to China, there is a treaty between China and UK, as you know. And 99 years they will maintain the democracy. However, after 50 years or so, they broke the promise, and now they are totally became like Hamid Kingdom. And on the other hand, I need to talk about the Japan. One of the, as you know, Japan has no natural resources. Almost nothing, just a little natural gases, just a little oils, that's it, no other minerals. So most of the minerals are imported from Asian countries and beyond, even including the oil and gas. And even Russia now, they are supplying the natural gas to Japan, and some foods also. And as you know, China has a military specialized to the cyber attack, and they are strengthening cyber attack to get many informations from the government, internal government or a corporation. And then recently, in 2014, they enacted a law called anti-spy law. And this anti-spy law is abused by the Chinese authority. And Japanese businessmen and also pro-China people were arrested after this law. And then they confiscate the computers, private things, and smartphones and documents to get advanced technologies. As you know, Japan is very much advanced, the technology, cars, electronics, optical devices, medicines, and so on. And recently, one Japanese person was arrested who are working for Astellas Pharma. It's a pharmaceutical company making the drugs. And this company is very good at making the drug to prevent the reaction after the organ transplant. So they need their information to improve their medicine to prevent this. So these kind of things are going on. So we have to discuss how to prevent these things. We are geographically not very much advanced like these gentlemen. So as I said, it's no natural resources. The only resource is the human being and technology. So we are now discussing, but I don't know how to prevent these tragedy. And some of the Japanese guy was arrested and put in the jail for 6.5 years. Recently, last year, one of the guy came back from China. It seems like, I spoke with him, but it seems like that he's brainwashed a little bit by Chinese authority. So even they're arrested and put in the jail for the 6 years, still he's partly protecting or supporting Chinese ideology. So I was so much shocked because, for example, in the state of Canada, when the Canadian citizens were arrested in Canada, then Canadian authority arrested the Chinese in their country by same law, anti-spy law, and they exchanged the people. And unfortunately, Japan doesn't have any anti-spy law, so that is where we have been talking. But there are some presence which is controlled by the China and North Korea. So it's we are facing very difficulties to enact this simple law in Japan. So today we'd like to discuss how to prevent these tragedies which is ongoing in several regions in Asia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Chu. Thank you, my dear brother. I hope the participants have understood exactly the situation in Japan. It's a pity that Japan is not very endowed with natural resources.
No.
But they have their specific things, which is technology, and the Japan technology is very good, and this is part of development, as the center of development. And so we are going to move on to the next speaker, who is no other person.
This is for video, but please.
We kill him.
Yeah, I will do it later.
Okay, thank you. So, in the absence of the Mr. Kiya's the video, we are going to skip him while we prepare. If he comes in, then he can come. We'll come back to that. Otherwise, we are moving to Dr. Luana. Dr. Luana will be talking about the human rights in the occupied Cindy. And it is our interest to know who occupies Cindy and how is human rights situation there, sir.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Thank you very much, Mr. Sean. Thank you very much, International Career Support Association. The title is Human Rights in Asia. Now, Asia currently makes about 60% of the population of the world. and it is almost 5 billion people. Just imagine that about 50 years ago, the world population was about 4.5 billion people. So the current population of Asia is more than the entire global population of the world, number one. Of course, wherever an atrocity occurs, wherever there is a human rights violation, where there is a suffering, it should be the suffering of the entire humankind, but still the humanity has to travel a long, long, long way where we can achieve this miracle. Now coming back to Pakistan, Pakistan is the 5th largest country in the world. Pakistan has got 7th largest army in the world. I mean, it is very difficult to affirm and confirm. There are all big countries, they've got large intelligence networks, but I was trying to corroborate this, but in terms of the numbers, just sheer numbers, because in Pakistan there are over 7 intelligence agencies, the ICSA, the military intelligence, the FBI, the CID and corps. In terms of sheer numbers, Pakistan has got the largest per capita soldiers. Pakistan has got probably the 2nd largest intelligence network in the world in terms of the personnel. And we, the Sindhis, which we sadly say it is industrialization, and it produces 70% of wealth of Pakistan, it produces 78% of gas of Pakistan and 54% of oil of Pakistan, 6th largest coal deposit in the world worth $23 trillion. Sadly, we are fallen prey in that country, Pakistan. And you all should know, the world knows it, and we all know that from day one, Pakistan has been ruled by no one but military, and their grip on the power, and their ruthlessness. Their violation of the human rights is increasing exponentially by the day. I tell you, just to exemplify some very specific examples, then coming to the general situation. On 16th of February, Hidayat Lohar, a primary school teacher, while going to school to teach in the morning, he was gunned down. He was gunned down by 2 people on the motorcycle. The photo of the first who is sitting in front is clear in the CCTV, and he has been identified. And who's Hidayat Lohar? Hidayat Lohar is the conscience of Sindhi society. He was a political worker struggling peacefully for the rights of Sindhi people. And he was abducted in April 2019, was released in May 2021 after more than 2 years, when his daughters, they established an organization, Voice for Missing Persons of Sindh, to get all the persons released. For 2 weeks they had a hunger strike, sit-in protest, to just lodge the FIR for the person that has been identified. They didn't do that. Eventually they did that. Now once they did it, they say arrest the person that is in the FIR. They don't want to do that. They want for a peaceful protest. Then they were battle charged, they were manhandled, and they were arrested. So many of them are still there, the struggle continues. But on the other side, what is happening? A phenomenon that happens regularly. When the army and their intelligence agency, they want to disrupt Sindhi society, they have created scores of Dacoit gangs. And the Dacoit gangs, I should have brought the photos, they come with the most modern, military grade, top grade weapons. They come on the social media, on the videos, they make calls to the people. They are on the social media regularly, every day there are messages. We'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. With all these firing these hundreds of weapons, literally. And where are they? In the northern Sindh, where within the 20-30 miles periphery of one of the largest cantonments of Asia, not of Pakistan, of Asia, Panuakal cantonment, or we call Panuakal Chowni, they are within that. How they got these? Because they literally want to make the lives of Sindhi people hell. And people are crying, people are moving. They want, the reason is because they have started a campaign to take every last inch of our land from us. Recently they announced the bankrupt country of Pakistan, they need money. And therefore they will acquire 1.3 million acres of land for corporate farming. Already they have allocated 52,000 acres of land. And who allocated this land? This government that wasn't supposed, what to call this government? They were temporary government? Caretaker government. Now the caretaker government who doesn't have the right, legal right, constitution, they say we give 53,000 acres of land. And in past they have taken 40% of Sindh's lands. So they now announced a canal. Say we will irrigate more than 600,000 acres of land in Punjab. Now the water flow to Sindh, which is our lifeline, that has decreased by more than 70% compared to 1947. So they want to take our lands, they want to take our water, they want to cut even Karanjar mountain, which is 4 billion year old. Does it happen in any? Because the granite, they want to take it. And Frontier Works Organization, which is subsidiary of Army, they are cutting it.
Yes.
And on the other, they deliberately drowned Sindh in 2022, affecting 22 million people, making 8 million people homeless. I mean, of course, wherever there is a natural disaster, there is a sad, but 8 million people were made homeless. Nothing has happened. They come here, they say, look, this is climate change and we are suffering. They show the pictures of us. They show the pictures of my people. That look, this is happening, people are suffering, give us money. Not only that, to surprise, when the aid arrived, the country said they directly were taken. There are these national logistics sale by Army, the big trawlers, they take all the aid. Like what happened in POK when there was this earthquake, all the blankets and they were sold in these markets basically. And that is what, so people don't kill, they want us to kill, they want us to die. They are committing genocide. Now, in this, what can we do? If you go for even peaceful, democratic protest, they say don't. They kidnap, they enforce disappearance, they extrajudicially kill, they take these to prisons, and there is a law, Army Act, that in any way, if you say that these have been abducted, presumably Army and their agencies are involved, it is a crime. Now how can we prove? Because they come in plain clothes, they can be punished and all that. Now, before ending, I will say one thing. Einstein said The world will not be destroyed by evil. World will not be destroyed by evil. World will be destroyed by those who see evil committing the crimes and don't stop them. Can the international community stop it? Yes, international community is capable of stopping it. Okay, we request them to stop it. It's a genocide. Okay, for whatever reason, geopolitical, geostrategic, economic, financial reasons, they don't want to help us. Can we make another request to the international community? If you don't want to help us, for whatever reason, you should. It is your moral, international, human obligation. If you don't want to help us, don't. But at least don't help them. Why you help them? Why you give them funds? Why you give them aid? Why you give them support? Can you do it? The question is to you. Don't do it. If you cannot help us, don't help them. Hopefully, the international community will listen. And this we know that happened periods of darkness in human history. The darkness will eventually go and sun will rise. And thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Dr. Luana. One can feel your passion. One can feel your passion for the suffering of your people. From your presentation, you were almost climbing on the table. I hope the United Nations is seeing how people are suffering. And from that we gather that the caretaker government is grabbing land, vast land, not for the purpose of helping the people, but to exploit the land to their advantage and letting the people perish. We also learned that using intimidation with the great weapons that they have to suppress the people. And intimidation is not allowed when it comes to human rights. And so we are moving to our next speaker. Our next speaker will be no other person than Mr. Afridi. Mr. Afridi will be talking from the perspective of the Pashtun people. Pashtun people. And so he would be telling us how is the human rights situation in this region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Our distinguished panelists have discussed some aspects of the human rights situation in Asia. Mr. FUJKI has discussed Hong Kong and China. And Mr. Labu Lohana from World Sindhi Congress has discussed the issue of the Sindhi people. I would like to discuss the human rights situation in Pakistan from a Pashtun perspective. Right from the inception of the unnatural and convoluted state of Pakistan, the oppression and tyranny of the oppressed nations like Baloch, Sindhis and Kashmiris, it continues. Even at the beginning, in Babra, Pashtuns were mercilessly killed by the state of Pakistan. But there was some period of calm for us. But in the last 20 years, and the so-called war on terror, the state of Pakistan, and particularly Pakistan Army, has committed war crimes and crimes against humanity, including enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings, arbitrary detentions, and torture of the Pashtun ethnic minority in Pakistan. You will be astonished to know that how a member state of the United Nations can commit such crimes. in former FATA, which we call federally administered tribal areas of Pakistan, more than 80,000 people were killed by Pakistani military and 32,000 forcibly disappeared. F-16 jet bombers, which we cannot use even against India, they were used against their own people, the Pashtun people in FATA. Pakistan used heavy artillery and gunship helicopters against innocent people in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and FATA. More than 200,000 houses were destroyed. 25,000 shops and commercial markets were destroyed, and the whole infrastructure of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and FATA was destroyed by Pakistan. The reason was to wipe out terrorism in that region, to wipe out Taliban and Al-Qaeda. But Pakistan double gamed with the international community, particularly with the United States of America. Instead of killing Taliban and Al-Qaeda, they killed innocent people. Not a single prominent Taliban leader or Al-Qaeda leader was killed by Pakistani military. Rather, these Talibans were kept in the military garrisons of Pakistan like VIP guests. You would have heard of Ehsanullah Ehsan. And on the other hand, the human rights defenders were killed, tortured with impunity by the state of Pakistan, particularly its military, because it's the military that is ruling Pakistan. There is no democracy there. There is a rubber stamp parliament there. No institutions are there, just the army. Whatever they say, whatever they decide, it is done. And on the other hand, for this war on terror, they took only from the United States of America $32 billion. And instead of spending these billions of dollars to reconstruct FATA and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, these dollars, billions of dollars were spent for the development of Punjab. Not a single dollar was spent on the Pashtun people. Even still, the Pashtun people are waiting for reconstruction and development and compensation what has been done to them. Now again, Pakistan is telling the international community that the terrorists are again coming to Pakistan. But in fact, these terrorists, these Taliban, the TTP, they are the proxies of the Pakistan army. They are protecting them even now in the garrisons of Pakistan, and then whenever needed, they take them out and kill innocent people. They have made an agreement with the TTP and brought more than 55,000 TTP leaders and their families to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And the recent rise in the terrorism and the attacks against innocent people, for that, the state of Pakistan is responsible, because it wants to make the international community afraid of terrorism so that to finance them. Pakistan is doing all these war crimes with impunity. How to stop this impunity? Until or unless these institutions or those persons who are responsible for these crimes, they are brought to justice, they are tried, this impunity will continue. We want the international community, particularly the United Nations, to take up these issues. We want these generals to be tried in the International War Crimes Tribunal. We want the international community, particularly the European Union, to stop GSP plus status of Pakistan, to remove them from that status. And even the IMF and World Bank to stop financing this country, because you are not financing the development of this country, but you are financing terrorism. They are buying arms to kill innocent people there. So my time is up. I was having some other recent atrocities of Pakistan to inform you about, but due to time constraint, maybe in the answering questions, we will discuss. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Afridi, for that succinct presentation. And from it ensures that the intention to completely wipe out the tribal people, a people, is falls within what is known as international crimes, and it is a crime against humanity. So you are right to call that the international community, the international court, to be able to investigate this crime. And if those who perpetrated it are found guilty, they should be accountable. With this, we are moving to one of my panelists who had to come in through video. The technical cabin says it is ready. Could you go on, sir?
Yeah, thank you very much. He's a very known journalist living in Norway, and he was trying to be here, but because of some other businesses, he's sending a report to the BBC, Al Jazeera, and many others, New York Times, and so on. So he's a very famous guy, and he sent me a very short message for this conference.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Dia Manoj and I'm a freelance journalist from Pakistan's troubled southwestern Balochistan province. Balochistan has been the scene of violent insurgency since 2000. I have been covering the Baloch conflict, and recently I have also been covering the rising Chinese engagement in Balochistan for national and international press. Currently, I live in exile in Norway. I was relocated to Norway in 2017 by a committee to protect journalists, CPJ, and protect defenders, European Union. The reason behind my relocation was that because I was covering the Baloch conflict and forced disappearances and massive human rights abuses in Balochistan that irked the Pakistani authorities. The Pakistani authorities strictly control the media in Balochistan. There are several factors behind severe restrictions on media in Balochistan. Some key reasons are, until recently, the Afghan Taliban, who were known as Quetta Shura, they were living in Balochistan. Rather, they were living in the capital of Balochistan, provincial capital Quetta, and they were known as Quetta Shura. The Pakistani authorities imposed restriction around the media, particularly around the international media, because it did not want the Western world to know that the Taliban were based in Balochistan. It would often require the international press to get a no objection certificate, which is called NOC from the Ministry of Interior in Islamabad, in order to visit Balochistan. That was rarely issued. The second reason is that Pakistani authorities have been engaged in a violent counterinsurgency operation in Balochistan since 2000. They have been involved in disappearing and killing and dumping Baloch rights activists, journalists, and independent voices, which the Pakistani authorities, of course, deny, and sometimes they are suspected. The Baloch rights activists say that more than 8,000 people have been subjected to enforced disappearances from Balochistan. An ethno-nationalist group, Balochistan National Party, BNP Mangal, which is led by legislator Sardar Akhtar Minkle. They presented a list of 5,000 people to former Prime Minister Imran Khan's government in 2018. He said that these were the people who had been forcefully disappeared from Balochistan. The enforced disappearances is another reason why the Pakistani authorities do not want media to independently report from Balochistan. The Baloch say that those who have been critical to Beijing or the Pakistani authorities' policies in Balochistan, they have been disappeared, killed and dumped. This is a charge the Pakistani authorities deny, but it's very much difficult for an independent journalist like me to verify all these accounts, because Balochistan, as I said, that is a place with severe restriction on media. This almost has become a no-go area for the journalists. 2 foreign correspondents in the second quarter of 2010 had their visas revoked because they were reporting about Balochistan. And also since 2000, according to Balochistan-based Balochistan Union of Journalists, more than 51 journalists and media workers have been killed from Balochistan. The situation in Balochistan is alarming and it continues to deteriorate, especially for the media workers and journalists. The world should not neglect Balochistan while talking about human rights, freedom of speech, and rights to liberty.
Thank you. No comment. Yes, he did. Here there is no comment because the presentation is done by those who are trained to talk. So no comment about that. Our last speaker for the day, the all-powerful, all-eminent personality who is no other person than Shuichi FUJKI. You will have, I know that you are a talker, but I'll give you only my 10 minutes to present your thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Shuichi FUJKI, who organized this event and invite us to shed light on the issues. Although the Asia is a big continent, as our learned colleague and the renowned human rights defenders, La Kulohana, shed light view about the populations of the Asian continent. Ladies and gentlemen, in Asia, we have democracies, we have dictatorships. Some of the countries who try to promote and protect the human rights, and some of the countries who involve badly violation of the human rights, like in China. The China is ruled by one political party, and that democracy is not matched as internationally recognized democracies. Civil society has not much voices. Somehow a party dictatorship is imposed on the Chinese people. We have many disputes in Asia, territorial disputes, and there are many countries, historical nation was forcibly divided, like our state of Jammu Kashmir, the people of Jammu Kashmir, is forcibly divided in 1947, and many others. I will not repeat those things which are already explained our learned panels regarding human rights violation in Pakistan, like Sindh, Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, how Pashtuns are facing a proxy war since 40 years, and it was the Pakistani religious extremist forces with the support of army and intelligence agencies waged a war on neighboring country Afghanistan, and also it affects the whole society, and those trend groups also entered in Kashmir, and they with the guns actually hijacked our civil society, and our voices were badly suppressed. And since 76 years we are facing a proxy war, and our land, which is known as Azad Kashmir or under Pakistani occupation, Gilgit Baltistan, and the Azad Kashmir is used as a proxy land, as a launching pad, waging a proxy war in other part of state of Jammu Kashmir, and all the secular democratic element in our regions, especially the political parties who subscribe the secularism, are under attack by the religious motivated extremist groups. And the Chinese role, although we are not facing directly any effect, but there is a one commercial project which is known as CPEC, One Road, One Belt, and it starts from our disputed area. It is the of Pakistan official policy and declared policy that state of Jammu Kashmir is a disputed, but when the state interest indulge, then the nature of dispute is changed. That's why the Gilgit Baltistan, where the CPEC stopped and it's entered into other part of Pakistan, that project badly affect our people, especially the people of area of Gilgit. And there are many projects actually funded by the China in Azad Kashmir, but it is restricted to the employment of the Chinese people, and local people have no any say, because Pakistan need the Chinese help and finance. That's why Pakistan always followed the Chinese instructions. In Azad Kashmir, where there are in Baltistan, where there is the Chinese projects, it is prohibited to visit any civilian populations. We have a dispute with the China because China has some areas from the state of Jammu Kashmir occupied. So the policies of the state, especially the Pakistan policy and the Chinese policy, jointly suppress the voices of the local people. And in Pakistan, there is no international standard democracy, but it is a controlled democracy which is not actually subscribing the wishes of the people. And always the people who promote and project the right of the religious minorities become the target of the state. Like Ahmadiyas have no say, like Shias have no say, and there are other sects who are badly victimized by the state apparatus. And the civilians, if anybody who is saying that these people have some right of movement, that human rights defender or a common people become the target of the state agencies. That's why there is many Kashmiris who were killed in Rawalpindi, the garrison cities, and culprit is still unknown. And one of our great leader, he was the chairman of the 13th political parties alliance. Daylight, he was killed, but still we are unable to launch a FIR, first information report, against the culprits. It is the state duty to help, to give us the justice. But unfortunately, whole area is suffering due to the repressive policies of the Pakistan. So we hope that all those countries who are our neighbors should help us and raise the voice in favor of the common people and subscribe the wishes of the people and behave like a pro-people governments. Otherwise, we consider them that they are also have the designs to occupy our areas, and all those countries who have expansionist designs, we unitedly stood against them because expansionism is not acceptable. So we people should unitedly raise our voice against the human rights violation. I thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know you are preparing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We shall unite to fight against human rights violations. And that is why the organizers of this conference is inviting all participants to join us at Sajina for a dinner of networking. Let's start there. With this, from all that we have heard, from all the speakers, I noted particularly that some articles of the human rights instruments have been violated. First, Article 1 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which enjoins us that every human being is born in equal and in rights. So the equality of people in this part of the region, as presented by our panelists, has been undermined. We also note that Article 19 of the same instrument, which talks about freedom of association, freedom of expression, has also been violated. And above all, we've got about torture, which goes a long way to violate the Article 5 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the constant rigging of elections, the constant repression of people during elections goes along to violate Article 25 of the Article 21 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I'm quoting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which means that by violation of this convention or this declaration, which has entered the customary law, all the other instruments read alongside this article that I've just referred to have been violated. It therefore means there is human rights violation in this part of the world. And that is why we are moving now towards dialogue, questions, contributions. And please, when you take speech, be brief. You have only 1 minute because we permit every other participant to speak. I start there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Altaf from Jammu and Kashmir. I might echo with Shaukat Kashmiri Saab's statement that the neighboring countries should involve and establish the rule of law and democracy, and should also work for the rights of the people in the territories they talked about. But unfortunately, one of the neighboring countries, which is India, the largest democracy in the world, is much talked about this time because of suppression on the civil society, suppression on the minorities. How can a big country in a neighborhood which has size 5 times than the other countries can influence in a good way to the neighbors? I think the bigger country has to behave rightly, only then the things can go in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. That's what's a contribution to buttress and put more ember on Shukat's pipe. I hope he will smoke it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are facing extremism and terrorism over region. Recently, trader president in Bagh Azad Kashmir made a press conference that 22 teenagers gone missing from the religious madrasas, and they were forcibly taken by the banned outfits who brainwash young children for the so-called jihad. And despite of Pakistan claim that she has controlling the extremist groups, these groups are roaming freely and disturbing the life of people. I think this is a very serious issue, and UN should intervene and ask Pakistan to stop its policies to promoting and exporting extremism and terrorism in the region. Thank you.
Thank you. We are not only in the UN conference, we are not only in the 5th session of the United Nations Human Rights Conference. They are right here in the hall, and I'm sure they are noting this particularly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other participant? Contribution, question? We are not asking questions. Do we want to say that we understood everything? That there was no doubt about what somebody said? So I will give room.
Yes, thank you very much, Jamil Maqsoodeh. So whatever is said from the podium is extremely alarming about regional peace, security, development, human rights, and the UN during all sessions, and particularly during this session, should establish a fact-finding mission or commission of inquiry for the region, and particularly for those areas which are undemocratically and by a hybrid system of governance ruled. So this is one of my recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shukat. Could you respond with 30 seconds, please?
30 seconds. Yes, in other part of Kashmir, which is under Indian administrations, at this moment there is no elections, and the people, the civil society and political party, even the Supreme Court of India is asking the present governments to restore the elections in democracy in Jammu and Kashmir. And I also endorse that there are many political parties who use religion for gaining the powers and vote bank. I think that real democracy did not accept this kind of a politics in any part of the country.
And so we are coming gradually. We have one just minute to end our conference, and from all that has been said, it is clear that what the call is that the United Nations is sending a fact-finding mission to the various regions where there are problems to establish the veracity of the claims that they have all made here. Thank you, and we come to the end of our conference.
One group for slide.